What is up, guys? Dirk here. Happy Monday. It is May the 8th. So I just want to do an update on the weekly candle close, how that's looking for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and what we could potentially expect for the week ahead. So if you enjoy this content, please do smash the like button, turn it blue. It does help the video get out to more people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so below. And let's get started. So what we have here is we have the weekly chart on Bitstamp. You can see Bitcoin is trading at 28,200, and we are in a bit of a tricky spot where we've been seeing a bit of a pullback, but also not too much. We've been seeing crazy euphoria around the meme coins. At this point, I'm just going to call it straight up euphoria, because it's just these ridiculous shit coins that have zero value that have been created, and there's like Pepe and copies of Pepe, coins called Poo and Turbo Toad and all sorts of ridiculous stuff that if you told a normal person that they were betting their money on that, they would call you crazy or ridiculous, or just plain call it gambling, which is what it is. And the fact that it's all going up is nice until eventually it stops, and then most of those meme coins are probably just gonna get rugged and go to zero. So do that at your own risk. And personally, I'm not participating in that craze. So what I want to see here, as you can see, we've got multiple weeks now here of trading sideways between about 27,000 and 31,000, and that is still where we're at. Now, for the bullish case, yes, we are still in a bullish trend. We're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and we are still in that trend, okay? We're above the 200-week moving average in red. We're above the 50-week moving average in blue. That is simply a bullish sign on the higher time frame. If we get a close below this 200-week moving average on the weekly chart, we have to start considering more downside potentially. My line in the sand for bear bull, like where I say like the bullish trend is no longer on, is this level of the 50-week moving average, the blue over here. So that is currently about 22 points, call it 22. If we get a weekly close below $22,000 on Bitcoin, I will flip bearish again, and we probably target the lows or lower. As long as we're holding above this though, everything is still perfectly fine. And even though it may seem boring because there's not much happening, this is fine. It's actually, trends can consolidate in two ways. So after a big move up, there needs to be some sort of consolidation, right? So the one option is a big pullback in the trend, so that is a pullback in price. The other one is simply sideways movement in time. So the pullback doesn't need to be as deep, but then it tends to go sideways for longer periods of time, and that is basically just to reset all the overbought indicators that comes back down a bit, and then hopefully can continue higher. So quite simply, my assessment of the situation at this point is we are still in bullish territory. We're above these two. As long as we stay above the 200-week moving average, things are good. And keep in mind, that is about 26,000. We're at 28,200, right? So that means we could still drop another $2,000 or $3,000 and still, be on top of this and then continue higher. We can also drop all the way back down here to 22,000, maybe even wick below it, as long as we don't get a weekly close, and then recover and continue higher later in the year. So potentially, if we get a drop in May or June, and then maybe continue back up towards the end of July. It was a similar situation here in 2021. You can see where we started dropping around about May, and we bottomed around about the end of July, and then we had another run up. So something like that could also be a repeat if we do end up dropping. But the first case scenario is quite simply, like I said, as long as we stay above this 200, above this 26,000, let it chop around here for a little bit, and then we build up the momentum. Hopefully the money flows from those shit coins and all the garbage that's going on. It flows back into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin gets a continuation higher. Obviously, the level that needs to be broken here is that 31,000. We still have this high over here that hasn't been taken out, the 32.5. Then we have a CME gap at 35,000, and ultimately the Fibonacci golden pocket and this high over here around 48,000. So there is still very much potential for upside later this year, until we get this bullish trend invalidated, which I've given you the level for. So for now, let's just be patient. A drop to 22,000 worst case is a possibility. As long as that holds, we could still see higher this year. 32, 35, 48 would be the upside targets for me personally. Okay, so looking at Ethereum, we're at $1,854. I made my last video, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I'm not sure. The last video before this one, where I said I was shorting ETH, and that has worked out perfectly. Once again, predicted in real time, ahead of time. We can look at that in a second. Actually, that was this setup over here. We'll zoom in on that a little bit later, but I want to just start out with the weekly chart here. We are still above the 50-week moving average, and I think using that as an ultimate line in the sand again for a bear or bull trend is probably a pretty decent way to go about it. So if we get a weekly close back below $1,516, call it $1,500 even, we get a weekly close below $1,500, and I would flip bear on Ethereum, probably targeting the lows or lower. And actually that ties in with the video that I made yesterday, I believe, or the day before, the short setup. I'm already short on ETH, and so far that is working out. And the technical target behind this, go and watch that video if you haven't watched it yet. Let me zoom in here to the daily. You can see I shared this in real time, actually ahead of time. I shared this already in April, this idea of we got the deviation and retest of the range high Fibonacci golden pocket, and then continuation down. And let me just get rid of this real quick. And as you can see, that is exactly what happened. We bounced right into the entry over there. We took the short position, and so far we are dropping back down. Now, obviously, there's a long way to go if it's going all the way back to the lows. I don't know for sure, of course, if it is going to go down to the lows. That is technically what this setup would suggest. But obviously, you know, we have the mid of the range, which seems like a achievable target. And maybe we hit the middle of the range, which is also that 50-week moving average, and then bounce. So again, it's going to very much depend on how the lower time frame plays out, and I'm obviously not going to blindly stick to the short idea if I see on lower time frames that it potentially might not be valid anymore. But for now, I believe still the bias is down. I'm holding my short from the entry. There's no risk to it. Stop is at break even. Short from almost $2,000. We're at $1,850. So things are looking good here for the downside for the short, and that unfortunately means that there is potential downside in Bitcoin, and probably the altcoins would probably get hit pretty hard if Bitcoin is going to drop back to, you know, 22,000. If Ethereum is going to drop back to 1,600 or 1,500, we could probably see altcoins take quite a bit of a hit too, because there's just so little liquidity in these markets. So if the Bitcoin price drops, I do suspect altcoins will take a hit also. So just something to be aware of. I have been saying for a long time, sell and may and go away. I've been talking about the lunar eclipse. I even shared the short setup ahead of time. So I do think there is potential for downside this month, in the next couple of weeks. And then we just have to take it a week at a time, see how the chart develops. And hopefully, again, those key levels that I shared earlier are just going to hold. So even if we do see a sell-off and we do see downside, it is just a correction, and the bullish trend will still see continuation later in the year. Hopefully that is going to be the case. Obviously, I will continue to keep you updated, and that might just very well be a good opportunity that we get if we do get a sell-off over the next couple weeks, next couple months. May to July of 2021 was also that period of dip and correction in the market, and it continued higher in July onwards. So let's see if we get a repeat of that. So that is basically my update right now on the markets, how I see it for the week ahead and maybe the next few weeks. And let's take it a step at a time to see how it develops. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button so you continue to get updates. If you want more updates, join my VIP, get access to my Discord. The link is in the description down below. There's a 60-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. And you get daily insights. Literally every day I share my thoughts on the charts, setups, trade ideas, all of that stuff. So link in the description down below if you want to join. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.